Land reform in Zimbabwe has radically transformed the rural economy. After 2000, around 145,000 families were allocated smallholder plots and further 20,000 took on medium-scale farms. This replaced an agrarian structure that was divided between 6,000 large-scale commercial farms on the one hand and small farms on the other. The new farmers have faced many challenges, but they've also created employment and they are generating new economic linkages, both in the local economy and further afield. This series of films look at this unfolding dynamic by tracing the networks from new farms in two sites: Mvuri, a high potential area near the capital, and Masvingo in the drier southeast of Zimbabwe. By looking at these three commodities, tobacco, beef and vegetables, the films ask what are the economic linkages created by new farming enterprises, how are these influencing the local economy, what livelihoods and forms of employment are being created, and what challenges are being faced. The tobacco story is especially fascinating. In Mvuri area, there are 13 tobacco companies that compete for outgrower farmers. They supply seeds, chemicals, and support transport and marketing. There are also farmers that prefer to go it alone, selling directly to the tobacco flows. From a low of 48 million kilograms in 2008, tobacco production is today estimated at 210 million kilograms, much of this from thousands of new farmers. This is generating significant revenue for the national exchequer but also supporting many local livelihoods. In Mvuri, we found both large and small-scale farmers involved in tobacco. All were employing labor for different tasks. The larger farms employed farm managers and hired workers from the compounds that had been established by former landowners. The larger farms had integrated business operations, linking the farm to other businesses such as stores and transport. The small-scale farmers had expanded rapidly and were investing their profits from farming into building their rural homes, buying property in nearby towns, as well as purchasing tractors and minivans for the farm and for other businesses. The character of the beef sector in Zimbabwe has also radically shifted. Once the mainstay of the white commercial farming economy in Masvingo province, there were massive cattle ranches holding thousands of animals. Farms were linked to small groups of abattoirs that took the high-quality product, tracked it to Harare, and sometimes to export markets. Today, the production system is very different and involves many small farms keeping cattle. The overall number of animals is comparable, possibly higher than before, but this is spread across many more production units. This presents challenges but also opportunities. The market is now much more geared towards local demand, meaning lower quality cuts and cheap meat sold in butcheries in Masvingo and throughout the numerous small towns and growth points in the area. There are now numerous food sellers, informal meat traders, and others connected to beef market, not to mention those involved in abattoirs, butcheries and restaurants, animal feed supply, veterinary services, transport business, all linked to these emerging beef supply chains. In Masvingo, there are also growing opportunities for vegetable production, supplying nearby urban demand. Some specialized horticulture farms have sprung up, made possible by the new availability of land and investing in small-scale irrigation facilities. Agricultural production made possible by land reform has opened up spaces for a wide range of new economic activity. connected through diverse networks linking farms to markets. Employment has been created along these value chains, on the farm, but also in the many small businesses that have emerged. Significantly, this has generated new economic opportunities in places where there were previously none. Not everyone, of course, is profiting, and there's a rapid process of differentiation going on. Some farmers wish to acquire more land, while others are moving on. The economic restructuring following land reform has of course had its downsides. Some elites have captured land through patronage connections. Not all the workers previously employed have found new employment, and some have had to relocate. Rapid growth of farm production has environmental costs too, especially with tobacco due to firewood demands for curing, but also with vegetable production that requires irrigation water and livestock keeping that needs extensive grazing lands. It is a diverse picture with no simple story. What is clear though is that the new economic activity is much more widely shared, but also much more localized than it was before. With greater populations of both farmers and workers, there is now a greater demand for everything from grocery supplies to tailors to hairdressers to mobile phone voucher sellers. In the past, the economic networks emanating from the large-scale commercial farms linked farms to a limited and concentrated set of economic players, often also in the hands of a racial minority. Today, the agrarian economy is generating new economic activity and employment precisely because it is more locally rooted. This is especially evident in certain commodities such as those explored in these films. The distribution of benefit is however patchy. Some succeed while others do not. This is a dynamic process undergoing fast change. Redistributing the land was only the first step. Building sustainable local economic growth that generates long-term employment and is rooted in vibrant rural markets is a longer process. Zimbabwe's land reform farmers in Vuri and Masvingo seem to be moving the economy in a positive direction by creating spaces for employment and economic opportunities for others.
We can change the past, but we can shape the future.